All right, my friends, it is another wet, cold winter day, and we're gonna be working on the blob eye some more. So I got a lot of stuff knocked out yesterday. I also found out some potential very good news. When I bought the car, the dealer told me that it might have a built motor in it. As I was stripping things down yesterday, like I did a lot of stuff off camera yesterday. I was just cutting off like exhaust manifold bolts, getting the exhaust manifolds off, the turbo out and all that kind of stuff. But as I was stripping everything down, I saw that the car had a set of aftermarket head gaskets. Now I absolutely butcher this name every single time I say it, but right down there's a set of head gaskets with this part number. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen because I don't remember. It's like Pro 42CR or something like that. They're Cometic, whatever the actual name brand is, head gaskets. So they are aftermarket head gaskets. The block looks a lot cleaner than it should for being at 132,000 miles. So this very well could be a built block. And today we're gonna find out, because I need to take that oil pan off that's underneath the car just to fix the oil leaks coming off of the oil pan. Now, because I'm pulling the oil pan off, you guys know how much I hate dealing with oil pans on these cars. We're gonna have to jack up the motor to be able to get the oil pan out, but it's just a series of 10mm bolts that goes all the way around the oil pan. You gotta break the seal, pop it off. I'll walk you guys through, or I'll show you guys how I do it. But once we get the oil pan off, we can take a look up in the motor and see if there's any different rods or pistons in this car other than OEM, because I have a set of OEM rod, or I have an OEM rod and piston right here. So, I mean, we can easily compare that one over to whatever is inside of the car. I also got the headlight stripped apart just because I needed to fix this one. It was cracked. Ended up repainting it also, so that way we can get it like nicely assembled, put back together. Ready for the blob eye. I don't want to waste any more time because we got a lot of stuff to do today. So, well, actually, before we jump into that, let me show you guys this. So like I said, I did pull the turbo out of the car. They told me they replaced the turbo. I don't know if they actually did. It has like very minor shaft play. It's nothing too concerning, but for the most part, it should be fine to throw back in. It's an OEM VF39. On the back side here, you can see on that stud did not want to come out with the bolt. So I have a new stud kit coming for the turbo also, so that way we can fresh hardware, because we like fresh hardware over everything. So now that we've covered everything else, I think that's about the extent of it. The downpipe's off, turbo's out, up pipe's out, header's off. I think that's all I really did yesterday. I also went through and like repainted like down in there where it was like all sorts like bad paint. But let's get this oil pan off. As you guys can see, the oil pan's off. I want you to know something. These cork gaskets, never use these. This oil pan was not even stuck to the block. Do not use cork gaskets. These things are awful. They are trash. Don't ever use them because they do not work. As you guys saw, the oil pan just fell off after I took all the bolts out. What is interesting though is if I can get the flashlight up in there, that's not an OEM oil pickup. That is the OEM windage tray. We are going to be swapping both of those out for the Killer B, but let's get the oil pickup off. Let's get the windage tray off. Let's get this oil pan out of the way, and let's see if this is actually a built motor or not. Update time. You might be asking why there's a bucket in the engine bay. I'll get to that in a minute, but oil pan's out. So I have good news. The last owner tried to take care of the car. I'll give him that because it has a Killer B oil pickup in it. I already have a new one on the way, so I'm not going to end up using that one. I already have a buyer for it, so don't ask about it. These, I do want to touch on these. Do not use these cork oil pan gaskets, you guys. Oh God, it's just a mess. It's just, cork absorbs oil over time, and you can see all the seepage of oil coming out the back of the pan right there, going all the way around this oil pan. This wasn't even attached to the motor like I showed you guys. Like that gasket doesn't adhere to the motor, so it doesn't create a seal for oil to not escape. Don't use those. Use RTV black. When we go to put the Killer B one on there, I'll show you guys. But this box of goodie, we're gonna be using the Killer B oil pan. Increases oil capacity, so that way we have greater oil span life. We can put more oil in there, so that way it means that if the potential for us to be burning off oil, we have a lot more reservoir in there. But back to this guy. Why is there a bucket in here, you might ask? Well, I just got the new window switch regulator. We're gonna give it a test. I have the Mini Odyssey in here right now just to be able to test this window motor, but I couldn't find the fuse for the fuel pump, so I don't want it to just shoot fuel everywhere. So if it does shoot fuel, it'll shoot it into the bucket and not all over the engine, because it's the last thing I want right now. So let's give this thing a test. Hopefully this window will actually roll down now. Oh God, oh God. All right, right there, that's all I want. That's all I want, just that first key spot. Please roll down. None of the windows roll down. Oh, that means That means we're gonna shoot fuel everywhere. Oh no. Oh no, hang on, I'm gonna figure out how to not shoot fuel everywhere. Oh god, this is only a little sketchy. I have the bucket like, oh, the bucket moved. We're just gonna go for it. We're just gonna go full send with it. All right, does this work? Nope, which means we have a bad window motor over here. Damn it. Annoying. So the bummer that the window still doesn't roll down. Looks like it's the window motor, so I'm gonna have to order a window motor for over here. We'll get that swapped out. I'll buy a third-party one for that. I'm not too concerned. But while we have the turbo out and everything else out, the engine's still jacked up, I wanna get the up pipe in the car. So I said I was gonna get the external wastegate model, that Brian just didn't have any up in stock at the mod garage, so I just snagged a normal Grimspeed up pipe. Like I said, the old one was catted. I threw it in the trash, but I'll show you guys. Got me digging in the trash for you guys right here. Blech. Blech. Gross. So this is the old up pipe. It is catted. There is a small catalytic converter right here just to help with emissions control. If you looked up in the up pipe with a stream of light, you'd be able to see it. This is just, it's garbage. It's cracked also. So we're just going to get rid of this. We're going to throw that Grimspeed one in there. We can't put the turbo back on the car yet because as I showed you guys, I had to cut off some of the studs and the bolts over here and they're just mangled and ruined. So it's just one less part we have to worry about. So I'm gonna get the studs put in here. We're gonna get this put up in the car. Also, thank you, Grimspeed. I didn't know that they came with gaskets. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. So let's get all this hardware in on this up pipe and get this up pipe in the car. So I got the new up pipe in the car, and then as soon as I got the up pipe in the car, I realized I'm gonna have to take the up pipe back out of the car anyways in a couple days because I ordered the IAG oil feed line for the turbo just because the stock one, I did end up bending it a little bit when we pulled the turbo out of the car. So up pipe's gonna have to come back out, but it's no big deal. I also found a couple other smaller issues. They're not like the end of the world. The motor mount, one of the motor mounts wasn't bolted down to the subframe. So I mean, that could have been one of the issues of why it was so loose, but we're gonna keep chooching along. So I'm gonna get the cylinder 4 cooling mod installed on the car. If you guys don't know how to do that, I do have a dedicated video. I'll link it right up there. It's not too bad. We're gonna pull off the plug that's on the backside of the motor, get it in there, and then get it routed up to the heater core lines. Now, the heater core lines have already been cut into. Focus. So I do figure that at some point, maybe someone had a cylinder 4 cooling mod on the car and they took it off. I don't know, but we're gonna get one put back on the car. Now, personal preference here, I always like to support smaller companies and smaller businesses, especially whenever they like create their own parts. So if you guys are looking for one of these, I do suggest snagging the Get a Dom Tune one. Dom's an awesome dude. He took a lot of time to like develop this with even from like the fittings, the hose length, the hose material, the fitting length for the block. But anyway, so this is pretty easy. So on the back of the block, there's a small plug. We're gonna take out the plug. We're gonna put some Permatex The Right stuff on here. I actually have some in this bag back here. This stuff. So we're gonna be putting this Permatex The Right stuff on this plug. Once we get that, we're just gonna tap this T into the heater core line, get all the fittings on, get it good to go. And then the cylinder 4 cooling mod will be done. So one less modification and thing that we need to get done to the car. So let me hop down there, pull the plug out. Once I get the plug out, I'll try my best to show you guys where it is on the back of the block because it's very difficult to be able to get a camera down underneath of the car down there just to be able to show you guys. But typically it's always gonna be underneath the secondary O2 or the secondary air injection system plug that goes back and down there. For these older models, you don't have them and there's only one plug that you can really find down there. So let me hop down there, start getting this thing pulled out. We got our plug out, sick. So I do want to note on a couple things for anyone who might be doing this. The easiest way that I found is get a couple of these, what are they, 2-inch, half-inch extensions. And then you're also gonna need this, I don't even know what size this is. What size is this guy? 12mm hex to be able to get the plug out. There's literally only one hole on the back of the block, so you cannot miss it. It's on the driver's side head. There is literally only one plug back there. It's right under those coolant lines. After you get the plug out, take a little bit of acetone or something, get it on a rag and just finger the hole a little bit. You just got to get in there to clean her out. Once she's cleaned out, because you don't want any of this old like thread locker that you guys see on that one. You don't want any of that still in the hole. So we're gonna get this Permatex Right stuff put onto the dealio of that guy right there, get this guy screwed in, get it plumbed up to the heater core lines, and then that modification is done, ready to go for our reliability stuff. So let me knock that out and then we'll keep going on this. We'll get it in there. Once it's actually installed, I'll show you guys how it's ran, but it's really self-explanatory. You cannot do this wrong. For a minute, I actually thought the previous owner cared a little bit about the car once I found the Killer Bee oil pickup. And then when I was going to install the cylinder 4 cooling mod, I thought he may have had one on the car and then just took it off when he sold the car or something like that. That's not the case. One of the heater core lines was cut, and that's the reason why I thought he had a cylinder 4 cooling mod. He cut the wrong line, first of all, for the cylinder 4 cooling mod. So I'm guessing when they pulled the motor out, they couldn't get the hose off, so they just cut it and then just put a union in between them. Like, this was another source of the coolant leak. It was connected to the heater core lines and just leaking more coolant. So instead of going out and buying a new heater core line, I used one of the old ones off of that STI for this one. It's not a perfect fitment, but it does work, and it does save me about $40 for a new line. Well, it just saves me some money overall. But let me show you guys the cylinder 4 cooling mod. So like I said, they're really not that bad to install. It just takes a little bit of time. So as you guys can see right down there, there's that one hose that goes to the back of the block. It's not the easiest to see. It's right there. So there's only one port on the back of the block. It comes up and it tees off onto the lower coolant lines running to the heater core back there. So that more bottom line right there is where it tees off to. Super easy to get on. Maybe took me about, I don't know, 30 minutes to get it all on there, but that's done. It took me longer to get a new heater core line on this thing than it did to install that cylinder 4 cooling mod. So this is the line that I just pulled off of the 17 STI. It's not perfect fitment, but it does work for right now, so I'm not too concerned about it. Next up, I want to show you guys the motor. So since we got the oil pan off, I can peek inside of the motor to see what is all done to the internals. And it's a little bit interesting. So, oh my God. My makeshift hood prop fell on me while I was under the car. That scared the living hell out of me. Not cool. Not cool, Subaru. Why would you do that to me? I swear it's trying to kill me.
Okay.
Yeah, the hood fell on me again.
Fell on you?
Well, it did fall on me. I was under the car and then the hood fell. All right, so here is our motor. Now, I was looking up in there. Everything is super fresh. I'm guessing that there is low mileage on this replacement block. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of hoses down here that are leaking and whatnot, but after looking up in the pan, it looks like we have OEM rods and pistons. So at some point this block was replaced with an OEM setup. It could be the type RA short block. It could be just a rebuilt block that's been cleaned, replaced, and thrown in here. I'm not entirely sure, but that is good news. Where's my hand? There it is. That is good news for us right there. So I mean, to be honest, all I can confirm is that the rods themselves look like OEM STI rods. The pistons, I can't really see the pistons all that well, but it's still good regardless. Brand new block in this car. Brand new block. I'm gonna guess under 5,000 miles on that engine, which is really good for us. I have no idea who built the motor or who replaced the motor, but whoever it was needs to take a step back and kind of rethink some of the strategies that they were using with this thing. But this is only the engine stuff. We still have to do all the drivetrain stuff to this car also. So I'm gonna take like an hour break, wait for UPS to drop off some parts, see if they drop anything off, run to the gas station, get an energy drink, and then we'll keep going on that turd. All right, you guys, so that is where I'm going to end it in today's video. It's like 4 o'clock right now. UPS hasn't dropped any parts off quite yet, and we need the parts to be able to keep going on this. We could do all the drivetrain stuff if we wanted to today, but I'm gonna jump on that early tomorrow morning, getting all the gear oil drained out of the car, new gear oil in the car. We'll do the shifter bushings, the short shifter, the rest of the drivetrain stuff as well. But tonight I'm gonna keep going on this. I'm just gonna be going under there with some like Purple Power, cleaning off all the old oil like gunk and buildup off of the front subframe, the transmission, the differentials. I'm just gonna get the underside of the car like crazy clean, so that way when we go under there tomorrow, everything's just kind of cleaned up for us, ready to go. So what did we discover today? We found out that indeed the motor is rebuilt. We don't know what pistons. They look like OEM rods. If I can get a picture of it, I'll snap like a closer picture of it. What else? We got the oil pan off. We found out that they used the core gasket. They half-assed the heater core hoses lines. We got the cylinder 4 cooling mod on the car. I got some more stuff cleaned up as well. Productive day. It was a productive day today, you guys. Like I said, I'm gonna keep going, just cleaning old grease and gunk up from underneath the car, just so when we go under there, it's nice, clean, spotless for us. But if you guys like the video, if you guys like the blob eye content, go ahead and hit that like button and turn it blue, like the inside of the seats on the Subaru. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up one of these corners. No idea which one I'll put it in quite yet, but with that though, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.